Odin is unlike any other villain we've had to face in gaming. What seemed like character weaknesses and lesser abilities ended up being some of the biggest obstacles that really turned the tide on making the player feel true dread while going up against him. The game does a very good job at making you feel like you may not win this war at a certain point. And I want to go over how that makes Odin truly menacing in this game, and how that sets him apart from other villains, and why Odin is the perfect villain for God of War Ragnarok.
I didn't want this. I did not want this.
I'd say the moment calls for calm. Yeah.
So they immediately set up a early reveal of Odin, and a very underwhelming reveal at that, because most big bads of games, especially like Zeus, are these big OP characters that just use every excuse to show how powerful they are. And the way they did this with Odin is the complete opposite. He comes in, he's not showing his strengths. He's actually hiding his cards like a game of poker. This is truly playing the game. And it immediately sets us up to form an opinion that maybe there's something we're missing. He just offered peace. Didn't Kratos just say he wanted to avoid war?
What do you want?
How about peace? How does peace strike the esteemed, retired god of war? How about we just don't kill each other?
Odin comes in and offers peace almost immediately, and we all know that Kratos is trying to leave war behind. And if a peace can be made, he would try it. But we've heard entirely too much of Odin's backstory through God of War 2018. We've heard too much from Mimir. We've heard too much from people around the land of how bad Odin truly can be. So he knows he isn't to be trusted. And the game sets it up as if this is the big opposing force. Kratos doesn't trust gods. And Odin is wanting peace. But then we see Odin tell Thor, don't take all day. So it's almost like Odin has been set up as a shot caller, and Thor is the big bad, the big muscle that we have to deal with. And it sets up Odin to be very disarming, which I've said in other videos. Odin is extremely disarming for someone who is near all-powerful.
Keep Freya off your back. Keep your boy safe. That's really all you want, isn't it? So what do you say?
No.
Don't take all day.
About time.
As we find out, after the big fight, Odin stayed behind to invite Atreus to Asgard, which in itself was odd, and then we come to the realization that that was his plan the entire time, which will lead into my next point that I want to make about Odin and what made him a perfect villain.
Told you he'd make it.
Kratos! It's Sindri and Brock. That was quite a fight. Can we...
Oh, now! Odin is with Atreus.
Oh, no. I'll go get a gateway ready.
Brother!
I was about to look for you.
Are you hurt?
Are you?
What does he want?
To, pay for the roof. And he invited me to Asgard.
Did he? I couldn't hear once he went outside.
I told him no. Obviously.
Good.
After seeing that Odin stayed behind, we were revealed that he meant to use that entire situation as a distraction, and it kind of made me look at Odin in a different light. They're not leaning in to his most powerful abilities and traits. They are leaning in to the unexpected as far as his abilities go. And if you go and look at the Ragnarok wiki, you will see that he has a very vast system of powers and abilities. Those that include immortality, superhuman strength and durability, as well as speed, magic mastery, spell casting, shape-shifting, realm travel, regeneration, protective magic, pyrokinesis, cryokinesis, geokinesis. But I want to lean in and show where the developers used his underwhelming abilities. Master strategist and leader. Master of deception and manipulation, deductive analysis, master torturer. These that fall under his genius level intellect are where the game really hones in on how to use Odin. And it's not the way that games usually go. Most games lean into how powerful is this god. He can't be stopped, just look at what he can do. But they use like the abilities that are underwhelming when you compare it to stuff like superhuman strength and durability, shooting energy beams. All these powerful abilities seem underwhelming when you're talking about being a master strategist, master of deception and manipulation and deductive analysis. They seem very underwhelming to all those really powerful abilities, but it's these subtle abilities that truly get them during the twist and proves to be some of his greatest strength. Out of all of his arsenal, these are the ones that make the player feel true dread, like they cannot win this war, like they've been beaten.
Talking to you! You never shut up!
Of all the things
Odin.
Let go of the boy and face me!
Tell your brother to throw me the mask and you've got a deal.
Stop moving.
Freya?
If he dies,
Now. Wasn't part of the plan, but if he dies, we are square for Heimdall. And honestly, you got a bargain.
I will kill you. Plan on that.
So nice spending time with you again. Freya, please. Can't be in two places at once. Frig. Hey! I don't move, you don't move. Don't do anything you'll regret.
I regret many things. Killing you will not be one of them. Elizabeth, son!
I'm in control! Here! Throw me the mask! Now! Too bad, son. Looks like war after all.
It was at this point I realized they were doing something entirely different with Odin. And I applaud them for this, because this is not a twist that most people was going to predict. Now, some may predict it. There are theorists out there that probably got this one right. But for the average player, this was truly something unexpected, and not where you thought the big defeating moment. The point of hope is all we have. Most games have this moment. But there is a sense of true defeat by just using these subtle powers by themselves. And that's when I began to appreciate the out-of-the-box thinking that they used with Odin in this game, and that's one of the biggest contributing factors of what made him a truly menacing and powerful villain, unlike anything we've ever fought. How do you beat something when you feel as if you've already been defeated? He knows all of our plans. We can't surprise him. He knows we're coming. He knows everybody that's involved. He was everywhere, and we never even seen it coming. He has had us under lock and key the entire time, when the only hope we had was the element of surprise. And we just found out that there's nothing that we can surprise him with. All this was a true moment of dread that made you feel like you're really not going to win now. Your plans have failed.
This whole time.
So, what do we do now?
Now we kill Odin. And anyone who gets in our way.
Truth. Come.
What? Where?
It does not matter.
Where are you going?
We are done.
You can't run away from this, Kratos. Odin won't stop until we stop him. We need you here!
After they've proven the cunning and where the true power of a villain lies, you can take it even further. Take it a step further and show what drives the villain. He sought knowledge above all else. Now, Most villains in other games are just unruly tyrants that want world domination and to rule just because they're the bad guy. That's what they do. That's the beginning, middle, and end of their motivation. And now, when you boil it all down, what was Odin's motivation? Odin was scared.
You have to stop. You can choose to be better.
No, I can't. I have to know what happens next. I will never stop.
Of what happened to him after he dies, because in Norse mythology, everyone that dies goes to Valhalla to meet and join Odin in the afterlife. But what happens to Odin when he dies? He was truly scared because it was the one thing he didn't know. Well, if I die, where do I go? Y'all obviously know where y'all go. I'm kind of the only one left with that unanswered question. He feared the unknown, and he wanted it so bad he was willing to sacrifice all to obtain that. And he also knew that with that knowledge, that infinite knowledge he chased, he could probably repair everything. They made him relatable. There's not one person that, in his shoes, that didn't know what happened next, couldn't say. They wouldn't be willing to want to know what happens to you when you go. So now that the game has established, he is very scared and is willing to go above and beyond out of fear. And then you give him the ability of manipulation, deception, strategist. His power to disarm is unlike any villain I've ever seen.
Heimdall's dead. Happen to know something about that? Anything?
Well, I mean, everyone hated him.
Sure. But have you seen anything? Something noteworthy?
I mean, you know, he did sock through it pretty hard while we were out. Maybe someone found out? Got even? I don't know.
Are you suggesting my son had something to do with this?
I don't know. Honest.
Well, I had to ask. Never believed you had anything to do with this. I'm glad you're back.
So, I figured out what went wrong. I mistranslated a word here.
Did you now?
I thought it said beyond the cry of cold breath, but it actually reads the cry of first breath.
Well, that's somewhere else entirely. I know where that is. Young man, you've done it again. Go. Take the mask, take the sword, take the bird. Find Thor. We're going to Niflheim.
And even in this next scene, you almost let your guard down to the point where you don't even see him as the villain anymore.
May I come in? I heard what Heimdall had to say. I'd like to hear it from you. What happened?
It wasn't there. I was wrong.
Well, we all make mistakes, son. But freeing Garm, that was a big one. Chaos is already spilling out into the other realms. We're safe here in Asgard, but everywhere else.
I think I want to go home now.
Okay, if that's what you want. I meant it when I said you're not a prisoner here. It's your choice. Go, clear your mind. I know you'll be back. But before you go, I'll need the mask back.
And they do such a good job at this that him being a villain is decided by just one decision he consistently makes throughout the entire story. Just one decision.
You did it, Loki. No. No more fighting. No. None of that matters now. This is your moment, Loki. Groa tried to hide you from me, but this is your destiny. Champion of the Jotnar. Only he can put on the mask. Only he can gaze into the truth of creation. Unfold the secrets of life and death. No more doubt, no more confusion. You were born for this. Put on the mask, Loki. Ask it the question.
The act of trying to gain knowledge isn't a bad decision. It isn't what makes him a villain. What made him a villain was the willingness to sacrifice all to gain that knowledge, to falsely shapeshift as Tyr and play both sides of the field, moving people around like pawns on a chessboard.
Why did you do that? What was it all for? You choose to be nothing!
The fear caused him to do radical things. Radical things like disguising yourself as Tyr, trying to infiltrate an outsider group to gain access to see what they can find because you found out that your enemy has access to that knowledge and you're willing to play everything close to the chest. Sacrifice everybody, including your family, your sons, your grandsons, your daughter, your granddaughter, your enemies, innocent children, innocent as guardians. He was willing to sacrifice everything, but they did it in a way that the player could understand what would drive a person to do that. That's what made him the best villain for the game, a truly menacing and extremely dangerous person doing this out of desperation. Almost to the point where you feel sorry for him because he didn't have to go this path. If it had not been for that one choice, he wouldn't be what you could even call a villain.
This was our chance, Loki! I could have had my answers! I could have learned the truth! You took that away from me! I could have made things better. We could have made the 9 realms better!
This was never about the realms, or me. It was about you!
You destroyed everything. My home, my family, my kingdom!
You did those things! Your choices! You killed your own
It
son!
wasn't my choice. I had no choice.
There's always a choice!
Even in the face of annihilation, that irrational and radical decision-making inevitably cost Odin his life. And it didn't have to be that way if it had not been for just one choice.
You have to stop. You can choose to be better.
No, I can't. I have to know what happens next. I will never stop.
Why'd you have to say that? Sofna. Upfra. Desu. Sofna. Hithan. Sofna. Sofna.
And that, to me, was the perfect way to take us out of the Norse saga. They gave us an unexpected villain that I could relate to. Someone I could put myself in their shoes and understand, at least on some level, where they were coming from. He was truly a dangerous and menacing villain with a lot of value from just a character analysis standpoint. A well thought of and well developed perfect villain. And I want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys agree? Did I miss anything important? Let me know down in the comments. I love reading all of y'all's remarks and anything y'all have to put, man. I love reading this stuff. I love the discussion. And I'm gonna be making some videos on some other characters and a few other games. One of my favorite games is coming out soon. The remake of Dead Space, one of my all-time favorite games. That's in the future. And is there anything that y'all would like me to cover as far as other games that y'all want to see expanded into, man? Let me know. And as always, I hope I see y'all in the next one.